Good morning. Namaste. Welcome. Okay, so what are we talking about today? Something that our mind keeps yapping upon us all the time. Should I do this? Should I do that? Am I good? Did they judge me? Did they think this about me? It's a lot of times that our mind and our brain is kind of throwing these repetitive conversations at us. And if we just look at it at face value, it just seems that yeah, so my confidence, I'm not a very confident person, or I feel others are more confident than me. Actually, I don't feel I am low in confidence. I feel that their life is kind of much better in many ways. They are in a better space in many ways. And so they have the ability to judge me, or probably things that I don't feel confident enough in stepping ahead and patting myself on the back. I keep putting those question marks and thinking, oh, am I a good sister? Am I a good parent? Am I a good wife? Am I a good, partner, whatever? And that's why these repetitive questions in our mind kind of further lower our self esteem and self confidence. And here I just want to bring in a subtle difference between self esteem and self confidence, because this is something that we were talking upon last week. So, many years back, one of my teachers asked me, on a scale of 0 to 10, how would you rate your self esteem? And believe me, I had no idea as to what I should reply. And maximum I could think of was a 3 or 4. And that too was more related to self confidence and not self esteem. But all these questions that your mind is throwing at you are not related to your self confidence, they're related to your self esteem. And actually, at that time, if somebody asked me what is the difference between self confidence and self esteem, I wouldn't know. So don't judge yourself on that aspect also. So, self esteem, to be explaining it in a very layman language, and very important for all of us to understand this aspect, is self esteem is how I think about myself. How comfortable am I in my own skin, in my own thought processes? That is self esteem. If I kind of, wear the most stupidest or funniest of clothes, and everybody kind of disapproves of it, but I feel comfortable and confident in that. That's my self esteem. And I'm not really bothered about others' opinions. Of course, keeping some basic norms, in place. That's self esteem, how I think about myself. So I would want all of you today to just rate yourself. If somebody, or if I were to ask you that, okay, on a scale of 0 to 10, how much would you think your self esteem is? Or how good do you feel about yourself? Just yourself, forget about your life, forget about the externals, just inside with yourself. How comfortable are you with yourself? Just work on this core issue. It's not difficult. You don't need somebody outside to explain and to make you comfortable in this. That's the whole breaking point. So just randomly go through it in your mind on a scale of 0 to 10. How would you rate your self esteem as? How good would you say your self esteem is? And if anyone wishes to share, nothing personal, no judgment, please feel free so that we can take it ahead from here. This is a very big trap. I can say this because many years back, I too was trapped in this. And these are the bondages that we put ourselves, these are the chains that we put on ourselves, and we're not able to move ahead. Because before we can take those steps, which we admire in others, we hold ourselves back and we blame it on the situation, the circumstances, or the people. But actually, it's about ourselves. And it's not about attaining big things or, accomplishing big tasks. It's just about being comfortable and confident and easy and happy with your life. That's all that we're trying to aim, isn't it? So, anyone who would like to share, please go ahead. Monica, Pooja, Shiraz, anyone, Avneet.
I would rate myself an 8 on 10 as far as self esteem is concerned.
Very good. Very good. And you know, like you've been working with me, so I know you understand this aspect very well. And
Yes.
a lot of times when people say that, am I doing this right? Will this, on what basis am I asking, am I doing this right? When we are taking a decision, whether to go left or right, just the simplest thing that we have to take a choice, whether to take the road on the left or the road on the right. When I'm standing at that point, why will I choose the road which is so called not appropriate? I don't even want to say wrong because I don't believe anything's right or wrong. You, at that moment, whatever you think to be the most appropriate road, wouldn't you choose that which you think as so called right at that moment? Obviously, each of us would. So, why are we judging ourselves at that point when we think that I'm kind of, I made the wrong choice or I don't make the right choices? That's really not true. That's the mind which comes in. And believe me, as I've told you before, when you're standing at that point that where you have to make a choice, the moment you take the road on the left, your mind will bring up 150 negatives about the left and positives about the right, and vice versa. The moment you say, okay, let me go on the right, the moment you take that road on the right, immediately you will see, oh, I think I should have taken the other one. That's the way our mind works. And the sooner we understand this, the easier it is going to be for all of us. Does that make sense? Don't we always do that? We go and stand in the queue, say at the airport or somewhere else, and we feel, okay, now I'm standing in the shortest queue. But before you know, you are still standing there and the other queue is moving ahead. And you say, oh gosh, I made the wrong choice. Isn't it? These are just simple things that we beat ourselves with. But no, just take a pause and no, it's fine. You'll move at the pace that you are meant to be. So, really coming into that deeper acceptance of life, deeper acceptance of whatever choice the universe made you make. And that's not to be blaming everything on the universe. That's just to be trusting in a deeper, higher consciousness, deeper, higher plan, whatever we might like to call it. Does that make sense? So when next time your mind beats you up by saying, oh, did I do the right thing? Or, it may not have turned out in the way that you anticipated. And that's why you doubt your choice, isn't it? And then that begins, actually starts to become a pattern. And then you say, oh, every time I make the wrong decisions. But that's really not true. In fact, it's the other way around. Use these experiences, which so called don't turn out in the way that you anticipated it, to further strengthen your trust and say, okay, this has not happened in the way I anticipated it to be, the reason why I took this choice. But okay, universe made me choose it and I'm here. So let me see what best I can do with this. That's how your self-esteem and self-confidence will come up. Nobody else or external will tell you that, yeah, you did right or wrong, because that's their opinion, that's their views, and they are coming with their own mindset, their own karmas, their own life, their own beliefs, their perceptions, and their judgments, isn't it? So always, if you are okay with it, it's okay to ask somebody maybe for an opinion, but don't let yourself be swayed away by the other person's decision or opinion. And most of the time, actually, we are not even asking somebody else or our own mind for somebody else's opinion, or to take a decision. We're not really asking the other person. We're only asking for a validation. We only want the other person to say, yeah, you did the right thing. So what if it didn't turn out in the way you wanted it to turn out? Isn't it? 90% you're not really asking them, okay, if they say, okay, go left, that you'll just blindly go left. That's not how we would want to. That's self confidence, because now you're only following what somebody else is guiding you to do. And we don't have the trust in our own inner wisdom to take the steps to move ahead. Yeah, so you understand the subtle difference. Self esteem is about how we feel about ourselves and about our life internally. And self confidence is about how we present ourselves externally. So we may be just blindly going ahead, even if we know it's wrong, or the other person has told us, so I'm just going because I trust the other person's decision more than I trust my own decision. Isn't it? But how foolish. The other person doesn't have to be living my life. The other person is not kind of going through or carrying the kind of life pattern or beliefs or ways that I need to be following. That's my soul journey. Therefore, always, always turn within. And again, on a broader aspect, I come back to the same thing. Just bring yourself into a centered space. Don't sway left to right. Somebody saying go here, go there, somebody saying go there, and you're just kind of going in that whirlpool, and then you just feel you're totally drowned. So stop, pause. Okay, keep the voices of those people who may have more experience or may have more things, to be saying. They maybe have more opinions and they may have more experience, and that's why they're telling you. And that's why actually you ask them, because you feel that they have always taken the right decisions. But actually, they have just stood by the decisions that they felt confident in. And that's how they turn out to be right. And they turn out to be right because you are looking at them from an external point. If you actually are in their shoes, you'll see things very differently, isn't it? Come on, I want to hear from you people also. Let me not go on talking. So trust in your own inner wisdom, trust in what you are feeling drawn, to do for yourself, because you know that you're going to be comfortable in that. And why is it so difficult for us, when we say, oh, it's so difficult for me to break conditioning or break these kind of patterns that I've been living with? So because we are so comfortable with that way of living, even if it is an uncomfortable, even if it is kind of harming me or not comfortable, I still continue to be in that because it's like my comfort zone, isn't it? So many times we've seen people in relationships which are not really serving them, whether it's personal or professional. They're in a job where they know that they are being kind of undervaluated, they're not being given the kind of due respect or salary that they deserve there. They feel they have much more to offer than what they are being offered there. Yet they continue to be in that space just because they are not confident about stepping out. They don't feel confident about themselves that, oh, if I leave this, will somebody else, will I get a better job? Most of us get stuck in that. And similarly, in relationships, we know that the relationship is abusive. We know that it's not really serving me, it's not helping me to grow, but we choose to continue being in that. And really, I don't ever mean when I talk about relationships that you have to walk out of any relationship or any job. First, be fully comfortable where you are, and then you will see how the paths open up ahead. And best is, like I always tell you, just pray. Just pray that you're shown the path. Just pray that you have um, the direction or the position where you are respected for who you are, given that due in your personal as well as professional relationships. Doubt, don't doubt yourself. That doubt is a very big drain, isn't it? Because we don't trust ourselves, we fall down into that whirlpool or that pit, and we once we are falling, it's just that we hear all the voices that are actually we feel are pushing us further down, and the biggest voice is the voices of our own mind. So just hold yourself, breathe, step out. You have the ability to step out of that pit and pick yourself up and walk ahead. So don't let situations, circumstances, or your own mind drain you. Ask yourself, reflect, and most of all, like I said, just be silent. Come to your center and see what feels right. See what feels in alignment with your own energy. That's what will take you ahead. Does that make sense? Vani, I was waiting for you to join because I love your sharing on this group.
Hi, I
Hi.
want to listen more today and share less.
I think everybody's in that mode. But it's okay. But yeah, if anybody has anything personally that they feel, that where they feel that they meet a dead end or a roadblock, because we are, I mean, all of us, if I say how many of you hear these voices in your head that Am I good enough? Did I do the right thing? Should I have done this? Am I capable of doing this? All of us will raise our hands because that is what our mind is telling us 24/7. If we are not in that state of awareness, isn't it? Yesterday, I was at a wedding and I was like just watching so many kids dancing, and I could see, like now we are in um, that kind of zone where you're kind of just watching people, just observing their behaviors, the way they are interacting, and not really judging them, but just from their personality point of view. So you see somebody who's like absolutely doesn't know the ABC of dancing and just goes and does whatever on the stage, and that way, because they're not so conscious about how they are moving, what is happening. And others who are just trying to dance in the best way with the perfect, steps and this and that, but their whole energy is so constricted and tight, because they want to do things in just a particular way. And that's how we live in our lives, because we limit it to this. And otherwise, if you really want to be free and just go ahead and, wherever your body is going, wherever you're swinging to whichever music, it's just fine. So you're so free and liberated to be living in the way that you just wish to, follow or go with the flow. In very literal terms, that's like going with the flow. And that's really freedom. And that freedom gives you what we are all kind of yearning for, whether it is our peace, joy, happiness, whatever it is that we want. So just learn to go with the flow. And when we're not going with the flow, it's just like, there's water flowing down, and you just surrender, you just let yourself be and allow yourself to go down. But what happens, we feel, oh, we'll drown. But if you resist, it becomes like a task. Otherwise, it just takes you and carries you through, and you just go with the flow. And yes, in life, there are times when we need to sort of, you know, follow certain rules or do certain things. But within that, too, we can really allow ourselves to be free and go with the flow. And of course, we are hit many times by stones or something on the way, but we'll always find our way through and go ahead. But when we resist that, no, I want to swim upstream. You know how difficult it is to swim upstream. And that's what really beats us up. Hi, Zainab. Good to see you.
Sujata, I can share something. The
Please go
thing is
ahead.
that you can be like that most of the time, but sometimes when there's a lot of someone's future or something vested in it, then you feel like you can't just sit back and go with the flow and take it easy because you feel like it's gonna get too late and I need to take some action or create a change, and that change is in somebody else's life, and then you feel that they're going down the wrong path or something, and then you feel so heavily vested in it. That's the only
Yeah.
time I guess feels really helpless, or like what you said, desperate. Or
Totally resonate with it. Totally resonate with what you're saying. And I'm sure others here are too resonating with what you're saying. But the fact is that beyond a point, you cannot change their destiny. You can do the right things, you can show them the path, but actually, they have to do whatever they have to do after some time on their own. You may even push them into, getting a particular job or taking up a particular role. But if it is not really meant for them, beyond a point, they'll fall back. But yes, do all the right things that you, as a partner, as a parent, as a teacher, whatever you want to do. Don't hold back, but then don't beat yourself up if the other person is not standing up to that, isn't it? And we all feel that, especially as parents, and we know we've gone through so many things and so many hardships, and we never want our children to go through that. And we always tell them, I think we've all heard this, and this is a statement that comes down all generations, that, I went through this, I don't want you to go through this. Or, we have more experience and we can see it from a third person's perspective. But if the child or if the other person cannot see it, beyond a point, you cannot do it, because the last, like we say, you diagnose somebody is not well, you take them to the doctor. You diagnose the disease, the doctor can go tell you to go through a series of tests. Now they know what is your problem. They'll give you the medicine, they'll even put it in your mouth. But that last bit you have to swallow, isn't it? So you can do all the things with resistance. The patient might be totally resisting everything. But if you put the medicine in the mouth and they spit it out or they don't choose to swallow it, there's really nothing that you can do except, kind of uh, put them in a place where they need an IV or something. But that too, for how long can we do that? Isn't it? Isn't it? So don't feel bad. In fact, like I always say, do the best that you can, but don't beat yourself up because we too have limitations. If it was doing it on us, it's a different thing. But when we are doing it for somebody else and you are seeing that this could impact their life journey, understand that you are not the one who's going to make them change their life journey. If they've chosen to go down that path, that's what it is. And also, I would say, don't think of the worst on that path. Maybe that's how they need to go and then bounce back. Isn't it? There's so much to life and we've all experienced it. So don't dishearten yourself and feel beaten yourself that, I'm not doing the right thing or I should have corrected them at that moment. You are doing your best. You are doing your best at every stage. Even those children who a lot of times people say that, oh, they're so spoiled, they're not brought up properly. You provided them with everything. They got everything on a platter. I mean, you did your best as a parent. If you could, which parent, if they could give their children everything on a silver platter, would not? I don't think there's even one parent who would say, no, I wouldn't. I would withhold it. Yes, I would give it with little more kind of discretion, but it's not that I would hold it back from them. But if the child's destiny is meant to be that he's fed on a silver, with a silver, everything is given to him on a silver platter and he's fed with that silver spoon, beyond a point, we cannot change that. And then we are very happy with that child's destiny. But when the child or the other person doesn't stand up for themselves, then you feel that, yeah, they're not doing, I didn't bring up the child properly or I didn't do this. But that's not true. That's really not true. That choice or that discretion has to come in the mind, or the other person has to be wise enough to understand that I was fortunate to be receiving this. Let me now make the best of it. And we've seen that too happens, isn't it? That too happens. And you see children who are, or adults who are just doing so well in their career, in their lives, and suddenly they go through something and it's like a total downfall, isn't it? So just you keep yourself centered. You be that pillar on which they feel that they can lean and come back, because sooner or later they will. And especially as parents or partners, we always need to be there, or as teachers or mentors, isn't it? You might be going through whatever hell in your own self, but you are always standing there for them. So bring yourself in that healthy space so that you can support them when they actually need you more. And at this point, when you kind of feel helpless that, I'm not being heard, or I can see that they're drowning, but I can't really help them in spite of giving them everything to float and come out, but they've chosen to drown, then I can only pray for them, isn't it? But don't beat yourself up, because that energy is not healthy for you, because sooner or later they are going to reach out to you, especially in our closest relationships, or even if they don't reach out, when they're really in need, you know that you will be there in spite of the fact that they disagreed with you or they did something against your wishes. You, as as the mentors or the parents or the partners, are always going to be there, right? So you be in your space and just bless them and send them love. I think that's the best thing that we can do. And really, if you're able to do that, then firstly, we are comfortable in our own selves and we are not further adding to that, because tomorrow they might turn around and say that you didn't tell us or you didn't guide us in the right way. So just be very strong and firm. Say what you need to say, but to the level, let them act to the level that they can. And the more we push them, the more resistance comes in, and the more you know, it's tough for them and for us. And really, by a lot of times, we give up on our lives because, we see these other people in our lives and our closest ones going through hell. But actually, why should we stop living because of that, because of their journey? Right? We don't feel like sometimes we give up on so many things just because, our, say, parents or our children or our partners are not doing well. But that's not really fair on us. And we are dishonoring our own life. And as much as we say that we are so intertwined, we are so linked, whether it's our parents or our children, But no, each one has their own journey, their own past karmas, their own sanskars. They come with those. And they have chosen you as parents or partners or children because maybe you are meant to show them certain things. Because if you are in that state of wisdom, of that higher wisdom, then you be there. You stand, stay put there. And when they're really swaying from left to right, you stand nice and strong and, offer your hand to, again, lift them up. So first thing is, don't beat yourself. Don't doubt yourself that am I doing the right thing? Am I the right partner? Am I the right, person, mentor for them? Don't doubt yourself. And also now I really believe that in your heart, when we pray for, these people, it's really to understand that we are not the ones who are really guiding or living their life. They have their own journey and their own destiny. And if they are to, say, fall down 10 times and then learn to walk or pick themselves up, then just be there to help them whenever they need your support more than anything else. Isn't it? Yeah, but don't beat yourself up because that's where we make the mistake. Forgive them, forgive yourself. I mean, we know all these ways of praying for others now. Yes, Shiraz, are you sharing something?
No, sorry.
Please speak. Okay. Yeah. That's exactly what Zainab was sharing, is exactly what we were talking about, that we are seeing the other people going down the drain and we feel so helpless that we can't really guide them, knowing that they are going to drown. And we feel, oh, why didn't we teach them to swim at an earlier point? But no, if they were meant to learn that, they would have learned that. But let them learn to swim now. It's never too late. I don't believe that it's ever too late in life. Yeah, so pick yourselves up from there and don't just whenever your mind is throwing that, just know that your alignment has shifted. If you are in alignment with the source, you will never be swayed here, there. You'll never ask these questions. It's only when you are not feeling aligned that these questions will come up. Yeah, makes sense.
Thanks so
Anybody
much.
else? Yeah,
Thank
yeah, Vani.
Hi. So I think, generally what has happened is that every time when we have accepted the change, we've realized and we've been grateful that the change is what was the best for us. But while we are in that stage of transition, of course, we are very, very anxious and agitated because we want our way. But how, we say na कि जब अपना अच्छा का नहीं हुआ तब मतलब भगवान का अच्छा का हुआ, then that is always better. So I think accepting change is the
That's
best thing to do.
Yeah. And that is when we are in alignment. But the thing is, see, there's a little twist here, and I'm happy that you brought this up, Vani. When we say that, because then things are turning out in the way that our mind has already perceived or what we have projected, our projections are kind of turning out true. But the problem is when they're not turning out true. It's like you even feel God is against me. Why is God not supporting me? When does God not support us? Is there even a iota of a second where God is not supporting us? God is always supporting us, life, universe, God, whatever you might like to call it. But the fact is, if it is falls in the way that we have thought or we wanted, then we are saying, yeah, God wants this, which is true. We want this. That time we had the wisdom to understand that, yes, this is the way, and it is happening. So then everything is very nice and beautiful, and we are very confident with whatever is happening. But the problem comes when your projections are different from what life is actually turning out to be. That's when the problem comes in the anticipated or the time defined by our human mind. Then we forget that it's not the human mind, it's not the human timing, it's actually a divine timing. And that's where we need to pick ourselves up and understand that, okay, I need to change my course, or I just need to stay put silent here to be shown the path that I need to take ahead. And actually, as I always say, those paths are very well defined. But we get so cluttered and so clouded in our head with all that mind chatter and the smog in our head that we're not able to see the way ahead. And I feel the best way to wipe out that fog is really to be in silence, to be grounded. to be centered. Whatever it is in life, whatever it may be in life, now there is only one way to move ahead to get the guidance and the wisdom that you want. Stop leaning as much as you can on others. Just lean on that one universal source. You in alignment with the divine, because you are an extension of the divine. So just fully trust that and be with that. The more we ask people for validation, for support, should I do this? Should I do that? Then you'll say, okay, now this person has told me, I think this is the right way to go. And you start following that. And suddenly, there'll be like just something which is not going in the way that you want it to go. Then you'll ask somebody else. Then they'll tell you something else. So don't get so swayed away by other things. And I don't mean that you don't need to ask for opinions. But first, be very sure what exactly is it that you are looking for. And I'm not even blaming anybody else, because each one is coming with their own past, their own journey, their own thoughts, ideas, and each one is absolutely right. Unless they really are not well wishers, why would they guide you in the wrong way? And then go back to thinking, when you struggle, like Zainab said, when you struggle with people and you're seeing that they're falling down the pit and you are not able to kind of change them, then think about yourselves. How many times we were told, don't take this step, don't do this, by our mentors, by our parents, by our elders. But somehow we chose to go down that drain, and they were they knew or they had experience, and still there's a bigger plan, there's a bigger force that is making things happen. So it's not about blaming anybody. It's just how your life is meant to be. It wasn't, I'm not even saying was meant to be. This where we are standing is the place, as Muji Baba says, you are standing in exactly the right place which is meant for you in your life. In the whole universe, in the whole, world, you're exactly at the right spot, even geographically, where you're meant to be. So never doubt the universal plan. And learn to just, you know, ask for the strength. I always say, if you can't understand what is there and how to go ahead, ask for the strength to be able to move ahead, to be in alignment with the source, to be in alignment with God's plans, because that is the only plan. And once you start falling into it, initially it might be difficult, but once you start walking on that path, you will see how easy it is for you to just go with the flow. Then you won't even have to kind of learn to swim, because it will just carry you through. It will just carry you through. Life will carry you through. But when we say no, we kind of, retract our steps and we say, no, I need to go the other way. That's when the push and the pull happens. Isn't it? That's the struggle. And the biggest kind of obstacle, I would say, is our mind, our thoughts. So observe what your mind is saying. And always, it's not necessary to answer every thought and everything that your mind is kind of throwing at you. Learn to take that pause, step back, reflect on it. And
When
even,
you say,
sorry.
sorry,
Yes, Monica, go ahead.
no, when you say this, that you don't have to entertain every thought that comes to your mind. I'm reminded of something in one of the workshops that Rohini had said, that we treat our thoughts like guests.
Yeah.
Even if they want to go back from the door, we will be like, nahi nahi, aiye andar aiye, baithiye, why don't you say it, let me serve you tea. And so we kind of just hold on to them and don't let them go, even if they would have just passed by.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that's always stuck with me. So I'm very, I try to be very conscious of that, to say that it's just a thought and it's going to pass, and I don't have to hold on to it, and I don't have to start owning it.
Absolutely. And actually, this is something that we heard Muji Baba telling us in one of his initial satsangs. And he would say that if you know that there's a neighbor who's knocking at your door, or even the best salesman cannot sell you what he's wanting to sell unless you are willing to take it. Sometimes we had those initially those people coming to our doors and ringing the bells and wanting to sell us something. And even if we didn't want it, we would just kind of, buy it for whatever reasons and just dump it in our homes. Or if we know that this neighbor who's now knocking at my door, if I open the door to them, they'll come in and they'll just, say, can we just be in for 5 minutes? And before you know, they're there for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and they are, watching a movie with you, and you are just kind of trapped in that whole thing. Why would you open that door to such a neighbor? They'll knock once, they'll knock twice, then they'll stop knocking. Similarly, for those thoughts. And I'm going to just share something because, like a lot of times when I get some people ask something on the WhatsApp. Now we have these phones which hold us, with these messages coming all through the day. And I know that if I answer just one thing on this person's message, there'll be so many other things that will flow ahead. And this is not to judge anybody, but I know that it is more important for the person to be with their own energy at that time and to just be quiet so that they can sort of understand that this is not important. And I can understand that it is not important to answer every message that comes up and answer it instantly, because then you suddenly lose track of where you are, you lose your center, and you know that it's going to go down and down. And especially if there's somebody, who you're kind of not having a good relationship, or that the other person is going to say something which is going to offend you, and then you'll reply and then they'll reply. So just refrain from it. Just send a nice smiling heart and just stop. Let them think whatever it is, but don't let your energy get drained. And all of us go through this, isn't it? You didn't mean to answer from that point. You just meant to sort of just have a nice friendly conversation, but it's going in a way where it is not serving you. It's just draining you, going to drain you, and you know that the person has a habit of, and you get triggered. It's not about blaming the person. You get triggered with that person's responses. Just stop. It's not important. If they feel bad that you haven't responded, let them. It's better than them feeling bad at your responses and then you feeling bad. But don't carry that guilt. That's what lowers your self esteem and self confidence. And then you keep thinking, what must they have thought? Did they think this? Did they think that? And sometimes they're not even thinking anything. We are only thinking in our heads. Everybody must be thinking about me. Everybody must be judging me. No, they have a lot of other things to do in their lives. And you are not, the person whom they're thinking about 24/7. This is self-preservation. I choose not to answer right now because I know if I answer, it's going to firstly distract me from what I'm doing. It's not really so urgent to get into that conversation right now. But the mind will say, but they'll think, oh, you're not a good healer, you're not a good teacher, you've not responded instantly. No, wait. Preserve your energy and respond in the right way at the right time, knowing that it's okay. There's no urgency. And yet there are times when okay, I need to leave everything and get into this conversation and respond to this person. Do that. But you will only be able to do that and apply that discretion when you yourself are calm and centered. Yes. How lovely this silence is sometimes, isn't it? It's like just absorbing so much. Okay, so since we have a little time, and as I said, we will be changing the timings of these talks from next month. Let's do a little meditation to really come into the center. Many of you might have done this meditation, which I love to take you through, the really bringing into the center and connecting to yourself. Unless anybody has anything to say or share. Okay, let's do this
Ma'am, I
meditation.
have a question.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah. I'm in Middle East. I stay in Bahrain, and my husband is working in Qatar. So me and my daughter are here in Bahrain. He's alone over there since a year and a half. Uh, my daughter is in eighth, so the decision we have taken to stay put is because her studies are going on over here in Bahrain. Her school is here. Uh, given an option, I would like to relocate back to India, but it's only because of our studies we are like stay put here. But now, my husband being alone there, and I don't blame him. He does feel lonely. So sometimes he, like if I am interacting with my friends, going out, or my daughter is having a good time, he feels, he talks it out that, you guys are having a good time, but I'm caught here. Though I have suggested to him, we can just leave everything and go back. He doesn't want to do that, nor he wants us to, leave everything here and move with him to Qatar because he himself is struggling. So it does get me to a guilty space sometimes that, we are enjoying or we are in a comfort zone and not he. But then how do I take this? Because I need to have friends here to have a support system here.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
just look at it in this way, Thank you for sharing that. Just look at it in this way. You have your friends, and that's your support system. And actually, that's what he also needs there. But for some reason, he's not able to have that. But
Yeah.
that does not mean that you should refrain from it, because this is helping you to keep your center and you to keep, yourself more occupied, rather than further
Mm.
you also drowning, going down the drain, and he feeling not so good where he is. And that, in fact, affects the child more. So your mental, emotional, physical health is equally important for what you both as a couple have chosen to do for your child. And
Yes.
then again, I say that you have said many a times that you can leave here and come back. Okay, for your child's education, you are here, but the child will be educated wherever she needs to be. So that's not, that is something which maybe comes out in the forefront, but more than that, you have to understand that this is how it is meant to be. You are meant to be here and he's meant to be there. And when the energies are that, okay, you need to be together, whether you go there or he travels here, that's a different thing. So, firstly, be more in acceptance of the fact that yes, it is something that you would aspire for. It is something that you would wish. Pray that you are together as a family. Keep that, but
Mm.
that doesn't mean that you are not allowed to live your life. Or if you have friends, and otherwise it'll become even tough for you, because your mind will also kind of be just in that low, depressive. I'm just using words which are not
Yeah.
personal to you, but this is how we usually feel: lonely, alone. But here you have so-called a good time because you're going out, interacting with friends, which everybody needs.
Yes.
Today, if he were also to do that, for whatever reasons, he may not be doing it. And it's not really about judging him or blaming him. For whatever reasons, he's not doing it. But still, this is what he's also yearning for, isn't it?
Yeah.
Are you stopping and not doing it? Does that fulfill his thing? That's no, just the ego will be satisfied that, yeah, I'm also lonely, you're also lonely. So we are two lonely people sitting in different countries, different continents, and, kind of lowering our vibration and the vibration of our relationship and the vibration of our child. So tomorrow, if he needs to be picked up, you won't have that energy. Whereas now you feel more confident and you feel, okay, this is where it is. We pray that you are together, but right now, there's nothing more that you can do. All the choices are there, but nothing is making you move or making him move to follow that choice. And even if it is kind of a mental satisfaction that, yes, this is what it is, and this is where I am right now, and we are doing it for our child's education. We have to
Mm.
understand that the child, it's not that, that's just a reason. How life becomes, something in life becomes a reason for you to stay in Qatar and he to stay in India, because
Okay.
the child can be very well educated wherever she needs to, isn't it? But the universe wants you to stay there, and this is where life has put you. And
Mm.
stay put and just pray that you're shown the way ahead in whichever way it is meant to be, so that you are more happy as a family together,
Together.
isn't it? But when you get into guilt, just in fact send him love, send him blessings, and just lift yourself out, because guilt is a very low vibration. And
Yeah.
he's going through whatever his stuff, you are going through your stuff. If both of you are going, in different directions and not able to support each other, then where will the family be, and where will with the child go?
Yes, ma'am.
So just trust that God wants you to be there. The universe has put you there at the moment, and pray that you're together, happy as a family, even if he's meant to be there and visit you often, or you're meant to be here and visit him often, isn't it?
Yes.
That peace and satisfaction inside you will help you to move ahead and see a way ahead where you can be more comfortable with each other and with life.
Yes, ma'am,
And
got
we
it.
think, we think that, oh, if he was here and we were together here, it would be very happy and we would not be lonely. But I've seen people living in huge, big relationships and families with, say, 30, 40 people together and yet being lonely. And I have seen people who are just kind of in the midst of everything and still they are like absolutely happy. You don't need people around to make you happy. That loneliness that you're trying to kind of overcome is, it's not necessary that when you're together he'll still be able to come out of it. He may not, isn't it?
Mm,
And that's not to
mm,
judge him. All of us do.
yeah,
Sometimes we're in the middle of a big group, but we just don't feel present there. We still feel, oh, I'm alone.
yeah,
Yeah, and then sometimes we are like absolutely alone and we feel very peaceful,
yeah, ma'am, got it.
isn't it? So be happy and peaceful and accepting of where you are and pray for whatever it is that you want or you're aspiring for. And why
Yes,
will it not happen? It will surely happen. That happiness that you carry, that sense of satisfaction that you carry as you move ahead, is what will
mm,
give you more peace and satisfaction.
yes, ma'am,
Yeah.
got it.
Thank
I'll
you.
be there. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much. Thank you.
Okay, so let's quickly end with a simple meditation. Just center yourselves, make yourself comfortable. And these are just simple words. If you keep repeating and telling yourself, they really help you to come into your center from where you don't have to doubt yourself. You don't have to um, kind of fall into the trap of, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing the wrong thing? You just come into a space where that guidance, that way ahead is shown to you. Okay, so just sit comfortably. You could be lying down. Just make yourself and bring yourself into a nice, easy, comfortable posture. With awareness, I want you to close your eyes. And as you close your eyes, you focus inwards. Just say to yourself the words, I am, I exist. And I want you to repeat these words and I want you to feel these words. I am, I exist. What does it mean to say I am? I exist. When I say I am, I have no thoughts of the past or the future. I just am. So just keep repeating, I am, I exist. Nobody taught you this. If somebody asked you, do you know you are? You'll say, yeah, obviously I know I am. So just allow yourself to fall into the space of amness. Just be. And as you fall into the space of amness, just notice that everything is happening on its own. Notice that your breathing is happening on its own. Notice that all your senses are working. You can hear, you can smell, you can feel your body. You can feel the heaviness in your chest. You can feel the churning in your stomach. Just become aware that everything is happening on its own. You're making no effort to hear me, yet you're hearing. Thoughts may come, but just for this short while, we're not going to engage with any thoughts. What do I mean when I say don't engage with any thoughts? Means that if the thought comes, just gently watch it and let it move on. Another one will come, just do the same with it. Don't follow any thought. Don't dialogue with any thought. Just notice that these thoughts arise in a space. Allow yourself to rest in this space of amness. Just see whether this space seems big or small. See whether it has a beginning or an ending. Where does it begin? Where does it end? Did it come from somewhere? Is it going somewhere? And just for this short while, as you rest in the space of amness, no past, no future, let's set aside everything that you know as being you. Anything that you identify yourself with, let's set that aside for now. Here, there is no name, no gender, no expectations, no perception, no memory, no past, no future. And you just see, you just gently notice, gently confirm what remains. Notice that it takes no effort to be here, no effort to reach this space, no effort to remain in this space as this space. And then I want you to confirm to yourself that you exist without all these things that you normally identify yourself with. You've dropped your name, dropped your past and future, dropped all things that you identify yourself with, yet you remain. Remain in the space that neither begins nor ends. This vast, endless space. I want each one of you to allow yourself to rest deeper and deeper in this space. Just witnessing everything that is going on without any need to do anything about anything. And then I want you to notice that thoughts are very, very distant and they are passing. Notice that nothing can really touch you in this space. Notice that there is no you in the space. There is only space. And I want you to just rest deeply in this space as the space. This is the space where everything manifests. The space which is home. The space that is the real you. This space that needs no fixing, no healing, no completion, no being in charge. No judgments here, no expectations, no perceptions, no memories, no past, no future, no you, no me, no birth, no death. Just recognize the space. Know that you didn't find the space, so you can't lose it. Just rest here as long as you need to, as the space. It's not somewhere you have to reach. It's not somewhere you have to do something to get to. It is you. It is primary. It comes before everything else. And whenever you do open your eyes, remember still that you are the space. You are the space. You are the space. Knowing this, confirming this, taking your own time. Bring your awareness back to your breath, into the body and your surroundings. Take a deep breath up to your feet. As you wriggle your toes, move your fingers, and with awareness, you may slowly open your eyes. Thank you, thank you, thank you.